The holographic image of High Commander Zixtal shimmered in the United Earth Defense Council chamber, their crystalline form refracting light in angry patterns across the walls. Your species has 24 hours to surrender unconditionally to the Nexari Empire. Resist, and we will demonstrate the full might of 10,000 warships against your primitive civilization. The transmission cut off, leaving the chamber in tense silence. The assembled military leaders and politicians immediately erupted into heated debate about defensive strategies and diplomatic responses. But Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's foremost expert in xenopsychology, remained quiet, her eyes fixed on the spot where the alien commander's image had been. Dr. Chen, General Michael Rodriguez's voice cut through the chaos. You've studied the Nexari for years. What's your assessment? Sarah stood slowly, her mind racing through decades of research on crystalline species psychology. They're terrified, she said, her voice carrying uncertainty that silenced the room. Terrified. Admiral Jessica Wong scoffed. They have enough firepower to glass our planet twice over. What could they possibly fear from us? Sarah activated the central display, bringing up her research data. The Nexari evolved from crystalline life forms that communicate through vibration and resonance. Their entire society, their military doctrine, their very psychology is built around action and reaction. They expect, they need, us to respond with either aggression or submission. She paused, letting her words sink in. But what if we did neither? What if we gave them nothing? Nothing. General Rodriguez leaned forward, intrigued. Explain. We evacuate every major city, shut down all broadcasts, move our military assets through the quantum tunnels we've been developing. Make it appear as if humanity has simply vanished. Sarah's fingers danced across the controls, showing simulation after simulation. The Nexari have never encountered an enemy that didn't fight back or surrender. The psychological impact of facing nothing, no resistance, no submission, just empty silence, would be devastating to their command structure. President Helena Martinez, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke. You're suggesting we wage psychological warfare on a scale never before attempted. Yes, Madam President, we turn their greatest strength, their rigid, predictable military doctrine, into their greatest weakness. Sarah brought up more data, showing the subtle stress fractures she'd observed in Commander Zixtal's crystalline structure during the transmission. The Nexari are already afraid because we've managed to hide our quantum technology from them. Let's give them something really terrifying. An enemy they cannot see, cannot predict, and cannot understand. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, President Martinez nodded. How quickly can we implement this strategy? Operation Ghost Protocol has been in development for years, Sarah replied. We can begin the evacuation immediately. Within 24 hours, Earth's surface will appear abandoned, while our forces relocate to the quantum shelters and bases we've prepared. And our response to their ultimatum. Sarah's lips curved in a slight smile. We send them nothing. Not a single transmission. Let them face the silence they fear most. As the council chamber erupted into activity, Sarah watched the replay of Commander Zixtal's threat one final time. The subtle fracture patterns in their crystalline structure told her everything she needed to know. The Nexari Empire had expected Earth to respond with either defiance or fear. Instead, they would face something far more terrifying. The absolute silence of a prey that simply ceased to exist. The first phase of humanity's greatest deception was about to begin. And in the void of space, 10,000 warships would soon learn that sometimes silence could be the deadliest weapon of all. Fleet Commander Vexner's crystalline form vibrated with increasing agitation as they studied the sensor readings from Earth's surface. 3 days had passed since their ultimatum, and the silence from the humans was becoming unbearable. Not a single military response, no diplomatic outreach, not even civilian communications chatter. Report, they demanded, their crystalline edges sharp with tension. High Commander, scans show fully operational power grids across all major human cities. The sensor officer responded, their own crystalline structure showing signs of stress. Environmental systems running. Automated maintenance systems active. But they hesitated. But what? No biological signatures. No movement. No signs of evacuation. It's as if the humans simply disappeared. Vexner's form shimmered with suppressed unease. Their massive fleet hung in high orbit, weapons primed for a resistance that never came. The tactical computers, programmed with millennia of warfare doctrine, could not compute a strategic response to an enemy that refused to exist. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the quantum-shielded command center designated Phantom Base Alpha, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the Nexari fleet's movements through advanced sensors that the aliens couldn't detect. Next to her, General Rodriguez studied the holographic display showing the positions of Earth's hidden forces. Status of the Whisper protocols, Sarah asked, her eyes fixed on the representation of Vexner's flagship. Lieutenant Maya Patel, their head of psychological operations, grinned. Phase 2 is ready, Doctor. Shall we give our visitors something to think about? Sarah nodded. Begin the hauntings. Across Earth's surface, carefully prepared automated systems activated. In New York, the lights of the Empire State Building began an ethereal dance, patterns that seemed random but were designed to create specific resonance patterns that would disturb crystalline neural structures. In Tokyo, maintenance robots appeared briefly on security cameras before vanishing into supposedly sealed buildings. In Moscow, heating systems activated in empty apartments, creating thermal signatures that suggested recent human presence. Aboard the Nexari flagship, reports flooded in from increasingly agitated scout ships. High Commander were detecting intermittent energy signatures consistent with human technology, but they appear and disappear without pattern. Scout Team Alpha reports finding fresh food in an abandoned military base, but no signs of who prepared it. Security drones in London recorded footsteps in sealed corridors, but cameras show empty hallways. Vexner's crystalline form developed hairline fractures as they attempted to process the conflicting data. The Nexari Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds, but always through the same predictable pattern: threat, resistance, overwhelming force, victory. This silence, these ghostly occurrences violated every principle of their military doctrine. In Phantom Base Alpha, Sarah watched the stress patterns spreading through the Nexari command structure. Their psychological profile is deteriorating exactly as predicted, she reported to President Martinez through their quantum-encrypted channel. Their rigid military hierarchy is starting to break down in the face of an enemy they can't quantify or engage. And our actual evacuation status? The President asked. 98% of the population is safely relocated to the quantum shelters. Military assets are fully deployed in parallel space. We can maintain this deception indefinitely. What's our next move? Sarah's eyes gleamed as she watched another stress fracture appear in Vexner's form. We escalate the haunting. Show them that Earth isn't empty. It's alive, aware, and playing with them. Let's see how their crystalline minds handle a planet that hunts them back. As if in response to her words, the Nexari fleet's formation tightened defensively, their ships clustering together like crystal fragments seeking stability. They had come expecting to find primitive humans cowering before their might. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that had mastered the art of fighting with silence and shadows. The second phase of humanity's psychological warfare was about to show the Nexari Empire that sometimes the most terrifying enemy was the one you couldn't fight back against. High Commander Zixel's crystalline body pulsed with dark colors as they reviewed the latest reports from Earth. A week had passed since their ultimatum, and the situation had devolved beyond anything in the Empire's 30,000 years of military history. Their mighty armada now hung in orbit around a planet that seemed to be playing with them. "Show me the lunar base incident again," they ordered, their voice carrying harmonic undertones of stress. The holographic display activated, showing footage from 3 days ago. A Nexari scout team had investigated the human settlement on Luna, finding it apparently abandoned like everything else. Then, impossibly, their sensors detected a massive energy surge. When they turned their cameras to investigate, they caught a glimpse of something that shouldn't exist: a fleet of advanced human warships, appearing for just 2 seconds before vanishing completely. Analysis confirms it wasn't a malfunction. Fleet Technician Krylax reported, their own form showing signs of structural fatigue. The energy signatures match no known technology, but they were real. And similar phenomena have been reported at 17 other locations in the solar system. In the quantum-shifted space surrounding Jupiter's moon Europa, Admiral Helena Santos watched the Nexari command ship through sensors that operated outside normal spacetime. The massive human fleet surrounding her was completely invisible to conventional detection methods, thanks to the quantum displacement technology that Dr. Chen had helped develop. Status of Operation Phantom Mirror, she asked her tactical officer. Commander James Liu brought up a detailed holographic display. All ships are in position, Admiral. The quantum projectors are calibrated to create microsecond glimpses of our fleet at precisely calculated points across the solar system. Each appearance is designed to suggest a level of technological advancement that should be impossible for our primitive civilization. Santos smiled. The Nexari had expected to find a pre-quantum species struggling with basic space travel. Instead, they were seeing ghosts of a fleet that seemed to command technologies far beyond their understanding, appearing and disappearing at will, leaving energy signatures that defied their scientific models, and demonstrating capabilities that threatened the Empire's technological supremacy. Back in Phantom Base Alpha, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the psychological impact of their campaign. The stress fractures in the Nexari command structure were spreading faster than even she had predicted. Their rigid, crystalline psychology simply couldn't handle the cognitive dissonance of an enemy that refused to behave according to their evolutionary and cultural expectations. Time to introduce Phase 3, she announced to her team. Lieutenant Patel initialized the Quantum Echo Protocol. Across the solar system, carefully positioned quantum projectors activated. This time, instead of showing glimpses of ships, they began broadcasting fragments of human communications, encrypted in ciphers far more advanced than the Nexari had believed possible, discussing operations and capabilities that suggested humanity had been preparing for this confrontation for decades. Aboard the Nexari flagship, Zixtal's form trembled as they listened to the intercepted transmissions. The humans were discussing weapon systems that shouldn't exist, coordinating fleet movements through dimensions their sensors couldn't detect, and referring to strategic assets that completely upended the Empire's assessment of Earth's capabilities. Impossible, they whispered, their crystalline structure developing new stress patterns. Their civilization is barely 3 centuries into space travel. They cannot have this level of technology. They cannot. But the evidence continued to mount. Every scan, every investigation, every attempt to understand their silent enemy only revealed new impossibilities. The humans weren't just hiding. They were operating on a level that threatened everything the Nexari thought they knew about technological progression and military power. In her command center, Sarah watched the spreading cracks in the Nexari command structure with satisfaction. They're starting to realize the true scope of their mistake, she reported to President Martinez. Their entire military doctrine is based on technological superiority. We're not just challenging their tactical assumptions, we're making them question their place in the cosmic hierarchy. And if they decide to attack anyway? The president asked. Sarah's expression hardened. Then they'll learn that what we've shown them so far is just the surface of our capabilities. The quantum fleet is ready. The dimensional defense grid is charged. If they force us to fight, they'll discover that humanity's apparent disappearance wasn't an act of cowardice. It was preparation for a kind of warfare they never imagined possible. The third phase of Earth's defense had revealed a crucial truth. Sometimes the most effective way to win a war was to make your enemy realize they never understood what they were fighting in the first place. The crystalline walls of the Nexari War Council chamber vibrated with tension as High Commander Zixtal faced their assembled fleet commanders. After 2 weeks of increasing psychological strain, the elite of the Empire's military showed visible signs of degradation. Stress fractures, spider webbing through their forms, color patterns shifting erratically, resonance frequencies wavering with uncertainty. The humans are not merely hiding, Zixtal announced, their own form showing deep structural fatigue. They are hunting us. The statement sent discordant ripples through the assembled commanders. Fleet Commander Vexnor stepped forward, their usually pristine crystalline surface now marred by anxiety patterns. High Commander, our latest scans have detected quantum anomalies throughout the solar system. The humans appear to have developed technology that allows them to exist between spaces. Their voice carried harmonics of deep distress. Our sensors register their presence everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. In the quantum-shifted space surrounding Mars, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the Nexari War Council through systems that could penetrate their ship's strongest shields. Beside her, Admiral Santos and President Martinez observed the deteriorating psychological state of their would-be conquerors. Initiate the final phase, Martinez ordered quietly. Sarah nodded to her team. Execute Operation Quantum Ghost. Across the solar system, humanity's most advanced technological achievement activated. Quantum projectors, carefully positioned in dimensional spaces the Nexari couldn't detect, began creating carefully calculated phenomena. Ghost ships appeared in impossible places, their energy signatures suggesting technologies that violated the Empire's understanding of physics. Phantom bases flickered in and out of existence on planetary surfaces, each appearance lasting just long enough to register on Nexari sensors before vanishing. But the true masterpiece was yet to come. Aboard the Nexari flagship, alarms suddenly blared. High Commander, a sensor officer called out, their crystalline form vibrating with panic. We're detecting impossible readings. The main display activated, showing the space around Earth. Where there had been empty void, sensor ghosts began to appear, massive structures, orbital platforms, defense systems that dwarfed anything in the Imperial arsenal. Each appearance lasted mere seconds, but the implications were devastating. Analysis confirms, Vexnor reported, their voice cracking with harmonic distortion. The humans haven't been hiding from us. They've been operating in dimensional layers we can't access. Their technological capability exceeds our theoretical models by centuries, possibly millennia. In the Quantum Command Center, Sarah watched the cascade of stress fractures spreading through the Nexari command structure. Their psychological break is imminent, she reported. Their entire worldview is collapsing. The Empire's fundamental belief in their technological supremacy is shattering. President Martinez leaned forward, and the final trigger. Sarah's eyes gleamed. Implementing now. Throughout the solar system, quantum projectors synchronized. In a carefully orchestrated display, they created the illusion of a human fleet that encompassed the entire solar system. Thousands of ships appearing simultaneously in a display of force that made the Nexari Armada look insignificant. The ships appeared for just 5 seconds before vanishing, leaving behind energy signatures that suggested they had simply shifted to another layer of reality. In the Nexari War Council, Zixtal's form developed catastrophic stress patterns as they watched their empire's military doctrine crumble. The humans hadn't just hidden from them. They had revealed themselves to be a civilization so advanced that they could treat the very fabric of space-time as a weapon. Zixtal's voice carried harmonics of defeat. We cannot fight an enemy that exists beyond our ability to comprehend. The campaign is terminated. All ships will withdraw immediately. As the Nexari fleet began their retreat, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They never understood, she said quietly. The greatest weapon in humanity's arsenal wasn't our technology. It was our ability to make them fear what they couldn't understand. The fourth phase of Earth's defense had proven a fundamental truth. In the face of the unknowable, even the mightiest empire could be brought to its knees by the power of imagination and fear. 1 month after the Nexari retreat, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, presenting her final analysis of humanity's bloodless victory. The chamber, once tense with the threat of invasion, now hummed with the quiet confidence of a civilization that had discovered its greatest strength lay not in weapons, but in understanding. The Nexari Empire has withdrawn completely from our sector of space, she reported, manipulating the holographic display to show the enemy fleet's retreat. More importantly, they've established a quarantine zone around our entire region, declaring it off-limits to all Imperial vessels. President Martinez leaned forward. They fear us that much. They fear what they think we are, Sarah corrected, bringing up recordings from intercepted Nexari communications. Their reports to the Imperial Senate describe Earth as a transcendent civilization, a species so advanced that we operate beyond conventional spacetime. Their xenopsychologists are still trying to understand how a primitive civilization could have achieved such capabilities without being detected. General Rodriguez couldn't suppress a smile. And our actual technological level? Sarah's eyes sparkled with amusement. Our quantum displacement technology is impressive, certainly, but it's nowhere near the level they believe we've achieved. We simply understood something fundamental about the Nexari psychology. Their rigid, crystalline minds couldn't cope with an enemy that refused to behave according to their expectations. In the Quantum Command Center beneath Europa, Admiral Santos oversaw the gradual reemergence of Earth's population. Cities slowly came back to life, but carefully, maintaining the illusion that humanity existed simultaneously in normal space and in quantum-shifted dimensions that the Nexari couldn't comprehend. Status of Operation Eternal Ghost, she asked her staff. Commander Liu brought up the latest data. The quantum projectors continue to create random appearances of advanced technology throughout the solar system. As far as the Nexari are concerned, we're simply going about our business in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their long-range sensors detect exactly what we want them to see, a civilization that treats space-time itself as a medium to be manipulated at will. Back in the council chamber, Sarah explained the long-term implications of their victory. We've achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. The Nexari Empire, which has conquered thousands of worlds through conventional warfare, now believes they encountered a civilization so advanced that concepts like military strength and technological superiority are meaningless to us. And the truth? President Martinez asked quietly. The truth is that humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology, Sarah replied. It was our ability to understand our enemies so completely that we could turn their own psychology against them. We didn't need to match their military might. We simply had to make them believe we operated on a level they couldn't comprehend. Lieutenant Patel, who had coordinated many of the phantom appearances, added her own report. The psychological impact has spread beyond the military. Nexari civilian networks are filled with theories about Earth. Some believe we're a civilization that evolved beyond physical form. Others think we've mastered dimensional engineering to the point where we can choose which reality we want to inhabit. No one has even come close to guessing that we simply understood them better than they understood themselves. President Martinez stood, surveying the chamber. Then we've achieved more than victory. We've ensured peace. The Nexari will never attack a civilization they believe has transcended their understanding of reality itself. Sarah nodded. And in doing so, we've proven something crucial about humanity's place in the galaxy. In a universe where most species measure strength through military might or technological advancement, our true power lies in our ability to understand, adapt, and turn our apparent weaknesses into unassailable strengths. As the council session ended, Sarah walked to the observation deck overlooking the now bustling city below. In orbit, quantum projectors continued their carefully choreographed dance, maintaining the illusion that humanity existed in multiple states of reality. The Nexari Empire had come expecting to find a primitive civilization ready for conquest. Instead, they had encountered humanity's most potent weapon: the power to turn understanding into victory and silence into strength. The greatest deception in human history had succeeded not through force of arms, but through the simple, devastating power of allowing an enemy to defeat themselves with their own fears and assumptions. In the end, humanity's mastery of psychology had proven mightier than any fleet of warships.